Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, this is David Benjamin from healthywildandfree.com. Today I want to talk about how to stimulate your vagus nerve. Now what is your vagus nerve? Your vagus nerve is the largest nerve in your body. It runs from your brain, the stem of your brain, in the middle right here, all the way down to your gut. So it's quite literally the nerve that connects your brain to your gut. So when people say, I'm listening to my gut, or my nerves are on edge, or something like that, they're probably referring to their vagus nerve unbeknownst to them. So the vagus nerve is very, very interesting because the nerve travels such a large pathway, and it comes from Latin, and it means the wanderer because it's the wandering nerve. It touches everything from your brain, your eyes, your facial expressions, down through your throat, your lungs, your heart, your stomach, your gut, your liver, your adrenal glands, and multiple things in between. So essentially the nerve has that pathway, but then the nerve fibers influence and communicate with those different organs and systems within the body. So it is an incredibly valuable nerve, and it has so much value for health and biological function that it's really important to understand the functions of the vagus nerve and understand how to optimize and keep the vagus nerve healthy. So one really cool fact too, it actually influences heart rate and HRV, heart rate variability, which is how your heart adapts and responds under stress or under high intensity or different intensities of movement and heart and variability in that heart rate. So it's very interesting. So one of the most important things to understand about the vagus nerve is that the vagus nerve is what creates distinction between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. The vagus nerve helps the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest, relax, and digest form of the nervous system, to do just that: rest, relax, and digest, and absorb nutrients. The sympathetic nervous system, on the other hand, is the nervous system that we are in more on a day-to-day basis. That has to do with anxiety, fight or flight. We're busy, we have time, we have to get places, all that kind of stuff. So the great thing about the vagus nerve is once you understand how to optimize and improve the biological function of your vagus nerve and do what's called toning your vagus nerve then is capable of refining everything from your brain to your gut and everything in between, and playing a positive role impacting all of those organs and systems I shared with you earlier. So what's really important to understand is that there are multiple ways to stimulate the vagus nerve, and I'm just going to cover a few of them today, probably like the top 3, maybe 4 that I'll share with you today. But it's really important to understand the function of the vagus nerve just so that you can have that consciousness around it, so you can do your own research, and I will continue to talk about it here on this channel and on Healthy, Wild, and Free in general. So first things first, one of the biggest benefits or biggest ways to stimulate your vagus nerve is to simply utilize sound. So in meditation and in yoga, they do things such as chanting or Om, or if I do this, and I bring this into the play, a bowl here. This bowl specifically puts out 144 and 415 hertz. But what's great is that when there's noise, and especially when you're engaging in acting using your own voice to bring that noise, what it's doing is it's stimulating the vagus nerve because your vocal cords and vagus nerves are connected. And your vagus nerve is stimulated when you make sound. So simply by going Om, or for example even gargling, like putting water in your mouth, switching around and gargling, is good because it creates a vibration and it creates movement within the vagus nerve. And when the vagus nerve moves, it's like it's getting exercise. You have to think of your nerves kind of like the muscle system in the body. When you expand and contract your muscles, you want to do that with your nervous system as well. You want it to be strong yet flexible and fluid. So creating sound and just simply sitting in silence and is good for the vagus nerve. So do that a little bit more and practice that in your yoga practice, your meditation practice, or just at home or at the office when people are wondering what the hell you're doing. The next way to stimulate your vagus nerve is cold exposure. I personally love cold exposure. I'm a cold addict. You can do this by, first things first in the morning, splashing cold water on your face. It's a great way to stimulate the vagus nerve. It wakes the vagus nerve up. It gets the vagus nerve active, and it communicates. Remember, the vagus nerve communicates with your brain, your eyes, your facial expressions, how tense your face is. Sometimes when people have a tighter or more tension in their face, their vagus nerve is stressed. Their parasympathetic response is hindered, and they need their parasympathetic system active so that they can rest, relax, recover, digest, and absorb the nutrients that their body needs. So Cold exposure is great because it stimulates the vagus nerve. Hot cold is also great because it expands and contracts the blood and the blood vessels. And what that does is it helps the vagus nerve. So just simply getting cold exposure, cold water on your face. And if you're taking a cold shower, a cold bath, cold water on your forehead and your chest specifically are going to help your entire body, your nervous system, your vagus nerve, your circulation, all that kind of stuff. So cold exposure is great. I highly recommend it. So does Wim Hof and many other people who are doing amazing things in the health and biohacking movement. And that leads me into the next tip, which is to simply relax. To relax your face, to relax your shoulders, to relax your stomach, to relax your body, and to simply breathe. It's one of the biggest things that we don't do as a society that we need to do more often is to simply relax and breathe. Breathing and slow intentional breathing helps to stimulate and tone the vagus nerve. So if you want more vagal tone, simply breathing and taking in deep breaths into your diaphragm, deep into your stomach, deep, and then out, is very good for your vagus nerve. And Wim Hof also states and shares that his breathing practice does help the vagus nerve. That's more hyperventilation, but I do believe it because any variation, it's kind of like walking or sprinting. You're getting your heart rate up, or you're at least modulating your heart rate in a positive way. The vagus nerve is the same. Whether you're breathing, any type of breathwork practice is going to be good for the vagus nerve. So breathe more often and more intentionally. That's the important thing. Breathe more intentionally. Last but not least, one of the last things that you can do to stimulate your vagus nerve and to improve vagal tone is to eat bitter foods. Now, bitter foods, what they do is they stimulate the vagus nerve receptor sites that activate your vagus nerve. So remember, your vagus nerve, it's a cranial nerve, meaning it connects in the stem part of your brain and it goes to your gut, into your stomach, your adrenal glands. So it's connecting your brain and your gut. So anything that influences or improves brain health or gut health is also going to help tone the vagal nerve. So bitters are great because they stimulate the nerve endings, the nerve receptors on the vagal nerve, and it's also just great for the liver, and the liver is one of those connection points for the vagus nerve. And it helps to detoxify and cleanse the liver and just get all that crap out of your body so you can operate from a place of purity internally so that you have energy, you can think clearly, your brain-gut connection is clear, you think clear, you're creative, and you're focused, and you have charge and energy, but you need your vagus nerve to be active in parasympathetic mode so that you rest, recover, sleep well, and get all that recovery to encompass the energy and the creativity and the capacity of your potential. So that's really the 3 or 4 key metrics that you can do. One is make sound. Humming, oming, creating a sound vibration in your throat stimulates the vagus nerve. Cold exposure, cold water is great. Relaxing and breathing is absolutely amazing. And eating bitter foods is also great. And just a few benefits. So I wrote down a few benefits here that I want to share also. Reducing inflammation. The vagus nerve helps to reduce inflammation because it signals different parts of your body when inflammation needs to be reduced. So simply stimulating and toning your vagus nerve helps to reduce inflammation in the body. It also reduces anxiety and fear. If you have a lot of, if you feel like you have a lot of social pressure, so if you don't feel like you can go into a room and talk to people with confidence and feel comfortable in your skin, your vagus nerve is not active in its parasympathetic sense, and you are in more of a fight or flight response when if you are in your parasympathetic response and your vagus nerve is toned, you can go into a social setting and feel much more comfortable. So anxiety, fear, large groups of people, that kind of stuff, your vagus nerve, the healthier it is, the better you are in those scenarios and environments. It also improves digestion and absorption of nutrients because once again it connects your stomach, your gut, your liver, your adrenal glands. It connects your heart rate variability, brain-gut pathway, so it's great for the brain and gut and everything in between. It also plays a role with hunger, your hormones, your hunger hormones, and your stress hormones because your adrenal glands connects to your vagus nerve. So the amount of food you intake, the type of food that you intake, the signals your brain sends to your gut will be determined by how healthy and how active the parasympathetic response of your nervous system is. So my recommendation is each and every single day, do at least one thing to stimulate your vagus nerve. It could be a cold shower, it could be breath work. Today I've done a cold shower, breath work. I've hummed and ohmed in this video, so there's 3 alone, and I've had something better. So I've stimulated my vagus nerve at least 4 times today, and the day's not even over yet. So you can at least stimulate your vagus nerve and tone your vagus nerve at least once per day, and you'll feel calmer, more relaxed. Your stress hormones will be less active. Your parasympathetic response will be healthier. You'll feel more natural, more comfortable, and life will flow with more grace and ease simply by toning your vagal nerve. My name is David Benjamin from healthywildandfree.com. You can subscribe to my channel for more videos on the vagus nerve and many other health and biohacking topics. Please hit subscribe below. Please hit like, comment, favorite, and share. Leave your comments below. And last but not least, if you take nutritional supplements like myself, I created a 33-page free PDF file that educates you on supplement quality and what you should avoid. So what you should look for on the label, what you should look for in a company, certifications, all of those metrics that have to do with quality and qualitative products in the health market. I created a 33-page report. It's a quick read. You can read it in 20 minutes to educate you on that process, because I've spent literally tens of thousands of dollars in supplements, and I want people to be clear and understand where their money is going and just to get the best products absolutely possible. So that report is free below. You can just click the link where it says free report and download that report. It'll be emailed to you, and there's a lot of value in that. I've already gotten good feedback on that, and even people in the health industry that have health companies have complimented me on the value in the report. So make sure to pick up your free report below. Leave a like, a favorite, a comment, a share, and I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to live healthy, well, and free. Bye.